please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everyone for coming and those watching on TV. We will start the evening with a public hearing.
Or, you want to mix it up?
Oh, no, okay.
Okay.
No, you're fine. That's why I said that. Then I just, we're going to change things up. We're going to move to new business real quick. Mr. Hubbard's here. He was good enough to come in and he's not feeling good, so we're going to get him over so he can go.
Okay.
So if you,
No,
under new business, request from Tim to de-annex approximately 3/10 of an acre of property behind the grocery store out there on Village Lane. We had asked him to come in and explain what he's doing and why he's doing it.
well, the original agreement with the city back in '04 involves none of you. It's supposed to, the utility easement was supposed to be the end of the city limits. There used to be an old barn back there, which had to be tore down because I put top fill, was not even supposed to be in the city. But for somehow they followed the creek instead of the city utility easement all the way back the property except that little bitty corner. And I wasn't even aware of it until I started putting the shed back there. And cities told me they'd give me no services, which I agreed. I've drilled the well, I've got septic coming in, I got 3 rivers coming in. I assumed it was all taken city limits, because I own 2.5 acres approximately across the creek, and the old barn and the 3 acres are supposed to be kept separate. Well, I tore the old barn down, and whoever annexed it at the time followed the creek instead of the utility easement. The city utility easement goes all the way around the back of the property except that little corner. Well, if it was part of city easement, I would have made it go to the creek and, there's a ditch on one side. I mean, I dozed it to clear the property off because it was useless. So why would I want city utilities running through the middle of that property if that was the original agreement? Like I say, none of you all were here.
Right.
So, it was just an oversight by me, the city, or whoever. But I'm not here to point fingers, but because I started building it and I was unaware it was even in the city until I was told it was.
Does anybody have any questions for Tim? Basically, he just wanted to explain why he's doing what he's doing, so.
Are you building a house or something back there?
No, I got a 40 by 60 shed, and it's a shed, and it's so, I'm selling the store. It's going to kind of somewhat be my office, but I don't know, unless the wife kicks me out, I might live there.
Any other questions?
So just to make it clear, he's made arrangements to get all of his own utilities. He won't have any city services.
Correct. I got a well drug. I got 3 rivers lined up, but they need a okay from the city before. And my time's getting closer to closing up the store, and I need utilities. And Jake is going to put in the septic service for me.
So the de-annexation between you and his attorney is almost done, or?
All we need is an ordinance for you guys to pass that says the following property is hereby de-annexed and no longer a part of the city. We just need a good description of the property that we are de-annexing.
Basically, it's just moving a line from, it's literally nothing. Because the part that half of it's a ditch line,
So the next meeting, we need to have that ordinance. What the other thing that he needs is, because this has been going on so long, he would like to get electric from 3 rivers, but 3 rivers won't give him electric until it's de-annexed because it's still
or a
within.
letter from the city saying
So if,
it's okay.
That big issue? To issue a letter to them?
Not to me.
Once you guys, if you want to double read the ordinance at the next meeting, then either a copy of the ordinance or a letter, either one would be,
I mean, just a letter to them stating it's okay to run utilities until we get it corrected. I mean, they're on both sides of the street. They're wanting to just
You
cover
guys-
themselves.
would have to direct me to do that if you want to do that prior to voting on the ordinance, or you want to wait to vote on the ordinance before issuing a letter.
How do you all feel?
So if you have the ordinance, you don't need the letter.
Okay.
Tim, are you wanting something before the next meeting?
Well, I need to get utilities on out there.
Right.
I need to have at least electric. I can't do nothing until Three Rivers gets satisfied. I mean, because I got a well and I don't have
Don't have any
no
juice.
electric. It's just whatever quicker, just at least to get power to the building.
What formally will he need, for the description in the ordinance, does he need to have, a survey for that?
In my opinion, yes. The ordinance has to be recorded, and so like any other deed or easement or anything that gets recorded, a survey or, starting at the northwest quarter, the southwest quarter, that's easy, that kind of thing, for this little piece that's being de-annexed.
And that might take a little bit of time. I don't, so, am I waiting to your decision?
Can we do it in 2 weeks? Can all that be done?
A surveyor?
But couldn't it just be added on to the other property behind it that's not annexed? I mean, if you just move the line to where it was originally supposed to be, because across the creek, as soon as the creek, everything else is not in city limits. I don't know.
Well, whether we call it a de-annexation or a subtraction of land from what was annexed, or whether we call it an addition of land across the creek that wasn't annexed, we need a description of the land that's either being subtracted or added. And so, let me look at it.
Okay.
I mean,
my biggest thing is just a letter to the Three Rivers saying I can.
legally, I don't see any issue. I think everybody's on the same page here. I don't see any issue with giving him the letter that he needs to at least get the electric done.
So does he do the survey then? That
Correct.
wouldn't be a city cost.
That's up to you guys as well, frankly.
I've
So-
spent enough on this already. I mean, it's it's hard. It hurts me in the heart. I think I've been a very good citizen and be treated this way. Been fighting this for a year. I've done developments, Montgomery City built that. This is
I don't feel like
twice as bad.
we treated you bad, and
Well,
this hasn't been going on for a year as far as I know.
Well, January of last year when I started on the building, and it's hurtful. I'm more than anything. To me, it's not a big deal, but to me, it's come principle. And,
And like you say, none of us knew any of this.
No, and I ain't saying no, it's just not, it was something in '04, and you weren't there when Chuck Brown was there, but to me, the common sense factor, why would I want a utility easement to my mill, my property? It goes all the way around the back, everywhere else, but there, common sense, well, it makes that land worth less value because I can't build over it.
Well, there was a survey and a legal description and so forth in the ordination, or in the annexation ordinance that was done in 2004, as well as in the development agreement, quote unquote, where all the promises were made, where it said the city will annex this land, or you will allow the city to annex this land if we provide this and this and this and this. So it was on paper in great detail, but if you guys have read legal descriptions, whether a line goes like this or like this, when you've got a paragraph description I would agree with what he said earlier, where if there's any fault to be laid, it's on both sides.
It is.
It's
I
in
mean,
my opinion.
I was developing a shopping center. I didn't go back and say, okay, well, let's see it. I mean, like I say, I'm at blame as much as anyone, but I'm just trying to make it right, and that's all I want.
All right, well, I think that if it's agreeable with you, somebody make a motion that we go ahead and write the letter so he can get the electric, and then we'll iron out the.
What I would propose that we issue a letter of intent on December the 11th, that we'll have an ordinance to authorize the de-annexation, or whatever you want to call it. And in that due time, you get with Dave the timeline so he can have the ordinance drawn up, ready for us to read on December 11th.
As long as I get electric, I don't care if it takes 3 months. You know, I mean, it really, it just keeps me moving forward because, you know, come first part of January, I'll be having my office there and working there.
So, the letter, we're gonna write the letter apparently, but you'll need a survey before you can do the ordinance, and that might,
Correct.
And that,
So that would-
right, and that's no problem,
you-
because I'm in the process of surveying off this door.
so you have somebody who can do it pretty, quickly.
What? I'd like to say yes, but I ain't gonna lie.
So I guess what I'm saying is that for, you know, officially present you an ordinance will depend on when his surveyor can
Right,
get the
right.
surveyor to.
Because the new company's buying Dollar General, the store, all the way up to the front, and I'm petitioning off the dog park part of the, in the city. I mean, when they get to it, I have, you know, as much as anything, getting anything done anymore takes forever. It just electric gets me moving forward.
Okay.
Well, I will second Jim's motion to get that letter issued to you, so you can do the operational stuff that you need to do.
Thank you.
The rest of the legal, we can hash
Yeah,
that out when
and
it
then,
happens.
I mean, if it takes 3, 4, I don't
All right,
care.
motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That we done.
Okay, I'm
Thank
gonna
you
get
for
out of
coming
here
in.
before I get back sick.
Hope you feel better. All right, now we will get back to the agenda, public hearing.
All right, so we'll go ahead and call this hearing to order this evening, November the 27th at 7:10 PM here at the Hermann City Hall. And this is a hearing to consider a conditional use permit application submitted by Tyler Schneider for a conditional use permit for an owner unoccupied guest house at 124 East 3rd Street, which is in the R2 two-family residential zone. The city's Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously passed a motion to recommend the board approve this application. At least 15 days' notice was published in the paper. When the hearing is concluded, the board shall provide its decision within 15 days. There are factors described in Municipal Code Section 42730, and in the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes, there's a checklist indicating they looked at all those, and all those have been met. The permit can be granted for such a period of time as the board finds in the public interest. The request was that it be for 1 year. The hearing is being conducted on the record, and a transcript is being prepared if anybody would like to see the transcript. We have Kim Rockledge remotely taking this down, and she will prepare that. The applicant can certainly present his case and submit any documents that he wants the board to rely on and answer questions. The board will ask for testimony from others present in the room who are interested, and in particular whether they are in favor or against the application. After the conclusion of all testimony, the board may deliberate and then vote on the issue, and whether the application is approved or denied is carried by a vote of the majority of the board members present this evening. And the following exhibits have been presented for you to consider. Exhibit 1 is the conditional use permit application. Exhibit 2 is the conditional use checklist that I mentioned earlier. Exhibit 3 is the meeting minutes of the November 6, 23 Planning and Zoning Commission. And Exhibit 4 is the affidavit from the newspaper confirming notice was provided or published. Exhibit 5 is a copy of the published notice. Exhibit 6 is the copy of a map indicating the area around the property. Exhibit 7 is a blown up copy of a small portion of our zoning map indicating the zoning classes. Exhibit 8 is a copy of a list of all of the people within 185 feet of the subject property who were sent actual notice of the meeting. Exhibit 9 is a Godat architecture site plan that was prepared for the property. And for Exhibit 10, we'll offer the entire code of ordinances of the city of Hermann, Missouri. Mayor Cox, do you agree to accept those exhibits into the record?
Yes, sir.
Then if our applicant is here, just briefly describe what you're doing and these guys can see if they have any questions.
Yeah, we have a few other guest houses in town. We keep them all nice, but anyway, we bought it to renovate and to make it a guest house. We started some of the renovations and we were waiting for more decisions, such as the parking lot and things like that. I was waiting to get a final decision on before we started all that, and so we're just gonna make it to a 3-bedroom guest house.
Do you want to tell them what you did for the parking?
Yes, so I had Nick Godat come out, and there had been a couple requests to see what it would look like before it was actually gonna be done. And I had Nick come out, and he drew it up like that picture, and I talked to Gleason's, and they didn't have any problem with making it look just like the drawing is. Reusing the existing stone from the retaining wall that's there, to make it look basically like it was with the driveway in the back of it, so.
And in the P&Z minutes, it mentions that Bob Sitton has reviewed the plans and doesn't have any concerns about it.
Anybody have any questions?
Do you have a manager?
I do.
Are they in town? You said you have a couple other properties. Are they, do
Yes,
they
so-
reside in town?
Yeah, there's 2 of them on 4th Street, one on 2nd Street, and one on Wharf Street.
Okay.
And it's 3 bedrooms, so 6 people, 8 people?
I'm planning for 8 people. Right now, just one of the bedrooms is a large bedroom that can easily fit 2 beds in it.
Anything else? Do we have a motion to approve?
I move to approve Tyler Schneider's conditional use permit.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made, a second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. There you go, sir. Thank you for your time.
All right, so we can go off the record on that hearing. And then back on the record at 7:15 PM here at City Hall regarding a public hearing to review a proposed amendment to Code Section 420.670 off-street parking requirements, and planning and zoning just wants you to consider removing the words "or suite" so that it says 1 space for each sleeping room, period. And I think this was Bob Sitton's recommendation as well.
And he made the effort to be here, so if you want him to speak, he's here.
Yeah, Bob, if you wanted to kind of explain to them what this is about. Yeah, there's no questions.
What in your ordinance is very confusing and has created some problems enforcing the parking. In that you have it stated you need 1 parking space for each guest room or suite. Our guest houses are rented out as suites. Did anybody know that?
The whole house.
The whole house, that classes as a suite, so that means you only have to have one parking space. I'm recommending we get rid of that suite altogether and put it in per room. Any questions?
So for example, if we change this, then the previous application we just had, they would have to have 3 spots for the 3 bedrooms, correct?
Yes. And with his, I have reviewed his plans, and yes, it will work.
You have the whole house issue, and then a lot of people commonly think, I think, of suites as possibly 2 or 3 bedrooms joined by a bathroom or joined by a common family room area or something like that, and they call that a suite. I know they do in all the dorms that my boys have stayed in, and somebody just looking at these ads, if multiple bedrooms, and then they could read this and think they only need 1 parking spot.
Right.
And then if everybody brings their own vehicle, you know what you got.
Is this going to affect quite a few guest houses, or have you been kind of cleaning this up as
I've been getting pretty good return on most of them. Some of them are balking, but I can almost sell an Eskimo in icebox. It's gentle pressure relentlessly applied.
Any other questions?
But there certainly would be a few guest houses currently that if this was changed, that it would definitely affect them.
Possibly.
Okay.
But I think we've got to be fair across the board to everybody.
Yeah.
That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other questions?
No.
All right, you need a motion to approve that then? You have a motion to approve
Well-
the change? Wait, excuse
You
me,
have an ordinance on it? Okay.
or you need to do it now?
Well, go ahead and do a motion to approve it, and then it'll be an ordinance for the next one.
Official. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the change?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried, it'll be an ordinance in the future.
So we can go off the record then on that hearing for Kim out there in Zoom land.
All right, we will move on, mayor's report, short and sweet as usual. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Important to me that I want to give a shout out to and a big thank you to all the police, fire, ambulance personnel who escorted our officer Adams Hollentrip home from the airport, and the hundreds of people that lined the roadways with American flags and supported him on his trip home. Luckily, he got to come home and not have to go to Nebraska for rehab. So and he's home for the holidays. It was just, if you weren't there, it was quite the tribute. I mean, it was an emotional ride, and the officers in the procession, all the way from the airport, all the fire departments in St. Louis County and everywhere else, had flags over the highways, and an emotional ride for all these guys and gals. And I just wanted to say a big thank you and welcome home, Adam. Next April, we're having an election, so alderman seats and the mayor's seat. If you're interested in running for one of our seats, you need to file at the office, which opens December 5th, I believe. And it's open to anybody. The other thing is, it's a Christmas season. Every weekend in Hermann, there's all kinds of cool things going on. First Grindle Martin, and you name it. So hope you get to enjoy some of that. So that's all I have. City Administrator report.
And because of the Christmas holiday, we typically only have one Board of Aldermen meeting in December. That will be December 11th. The next meeting would have fallen right on Christmas Day, so barring anything as an emergency, we should have to have a second meeting. So that means I want to prep you a little bit for what we will have on December 11th. Our engineer had things timed out with some bids that we have advertised that will need to be approved December 11th. One of those is the sewer pipe rerouting that is required due to the work on the Frame Creek Bridge there by Ford. If you'll remember the way they're redoing the girders, our sewer pipe will be exposed. And for fear of logs and debris knocking it off come the first flood, we're going to reroute that over to the Lionsfield lift station. And so that is out for bid right now. The bid opening will be December 6th, and we'll need to, again, because I'm having one meeting, we'll need to twice read that December 11th. So when you see that, if you have any questions, please let us know as soon as possible. Same with the sewer pipe relining, but that's pretty straightforward. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, several years now. And I don't have the streets in front of me, but we will have that for you. And again, that's on the same schedule as the sewer pipe rerouting. It's out for bids right now. Bid opening is December 6th, and we'll need to twice read it December 11th to stay on the schedule. We will also have at the December 11th meeting the generator bids for you. The mayor's been on this for a long time, and it's just been a big project, and not a lot of people do this. So again, it's a generator. Remember, our generator failed last year. So this generator would be a larger one. It would have the capacity for the entire city hall building. It would make us a true warming and cooling center. You know, if other places power literally goes down, that this would at least be somewhere. Because like even the schools don't have generators. So like I said again, the mayor feels that's really important. I do as well. And we did budget for it, the generator and the installation, and we should have those bids for you at the next meeting. Unfortunately, and we'll know more as it gets closer, but I think that it's still going to take a while to get it. Last I heard was about 10 months. So I hope that's changed. Something else that will be coming to you in the new year, you may have seen in the planning and zoning meeting minutes here and there that they've been talking about the comprehensive plan, getting hours updated, being that it's so incredibly old. We did go out for bids. The bids came in last Friday. Corey and I opened those. We were happy to hear that we received 3. So planning and zoning will be reviewing those at an upcoming meeting. I don't really know the date of that yet, but or how many meetings it might take them because the proposals are pretty thick. So when they're done reviewing them, they will kick that up to you all and let you make that final decision. Something else to be kind of on the lookout for, Corey's been working with the Landmarks Commission. They are updating the historic guidelines for the historic overlay, you know, and the requirements that the buildings and the structures down there need to follow through with, and the things that need to come before the Landmarks Commission for approval. They're just trying to update that and kind of define it a little more clearly. And so they've been revising it. Has it made it to Dave yet? Okay, it'll probably go to you next, and then back up to you all for that review as well. Again, probably early, sometime in the new year.
I think they plan to lay eyes on it one more time before we pass it on to the planning and zoning and then ultimately to you guys.
And that's important because that affects a lot of people, you know. The camping reservation software process is going well. The ladies in the front office are completely handling that. I'm not overly involved, but they're working diligently on it, and it looks like the January go live date is going to be possible, and so we're super excited about that. I think that's all I have today.
Short and sweet.
I know. last meeting I kept you a while.
We have no public comments, right? All right, old business discussion of the wastewater bond.
Yes, so, look, as you all know, Jordan McCliney was here at our last meeting and gave us a lot of the background information, how this would actually work. And as I had stated before, we will need to do something just because next year we will have completely depleted our bond money and we have no more bonding authority. You know, Joey's pitch was that it's a good time to do something because before interest rates go up any higher, and because there is some federal/state government money available through grants. But you can only get grants and you can only get this subsidized interest rate if you have voted bonds, voter approved bonds. Again, as he explained, we at any time can go out on our own through a lease option that basically functions like a bond, but you don't have to have voter approval. But that's going to be at a higher interest rate. So anyway, we talked about that and what might be the right move for us if you wanted to move forward, what election you might want to hit. And, you know, I talked to the county as well and just tried to bounce it off a few people. And the wisdom is that nobody knows. Nobody knows when the best time is to put something on the ballot. Things to take into consideration, though, one thing would be that the school board, I did confirm with Mr. Neal that that they're working towards that. Of course, he won't know for sure either until they actually vote on it closer to January, but they're working towards, they think, putting a bond issue on the April ballot, that no tax bond issue, if that weighs into your decision at all. I don't have a real strong opinion about which election we do it in. I had laid out to you guys some pros and cons to both, and that's kind of just up for discussion.
I believe the school would wish us not to run a bond issue at the same time that they're running one in conversation, you know, so I don't, that would push us back to August. The only problem with doing it in August is more expensive as far as paying the county to do the election. So that's something we have to weigh, but I don't
We
know.
pay a set amount per election, or like, does it depend what's on the?
Depends on how many
Yes.
people are involved with
Mhm. How many
it. There's a whole lot of
entities?
parameters that get into that.
Yes, that's true. How many entities have issues on the ballot? What the county clerk was telling me about the August election and why that will be, you know, a little more expensive is because she said all, you know, there aren't just two parties, there's 6, and it's a primary election. And so she said there'd have to be ballot printing and machine programming for all 6 of those. And that would make it a little more expensive.
So
How much do we spend typically, you know?
Well, it all depends, and it's never the same, but typically an April election runs us in the 2,000 range. Last time we ran, and I think it was an August ballot for the street tax, it was like $6,000. But that's been a few years back.
You made it sound like the school going for the bond issue in April is not yet a sure thing. They still are talking about it.
They plan on it, but of course it's like us, it's not official till they vote closer to the certification
when
date.
do we have to have a date set, or a decision, I guess?
Well, if we're gonna do April, the sooner the better, because we need to start planning and getting materials together and start advocating, because voter education is gonna be probably the biggest part of us being successful.
And when did you say the school board would decide?
Well,
No.
they didn't really tell me, they're on the same timeline as we are, that they have to certify their ballot in January 23rd, I think.
That's the county's deadline.
That's where we have to, everybody has to have their issues to the county.
So you could contingently pass an ordinance to go ahead and put it on the ballot if the school board doesn't have theirs into the county by January 23rd, I reckon. I mean,
I think what-
but you're saying you think you need more than January 23rd to first Tuesday after the first Monday in April to get word out, or that's at least something to consider.
I think that the issue that, what school board's doing is they are gonna put a bond, and there again, I can't speak for the school board, but from what Dr. Neal said, it's a no tax increase. So, you know, they're not gonna be asking for money, where we're gonna be kinda asking for money. I don't know. Cause the school board just wants to have the authority to move money from one pool to another pool.
That was one, you're right, they have 2 questions, and one is to move money from one pool to the other. The other is just to continue the tax rate that it is, rather than, now that it's expended, it's over, so instead of it reverting back and people reducing their taxes, they're asking, let us keep your tax at the same level.
So that, in my mind, they're not asking for nothing where, that could make a difference too.
They have 2 things on the ballot, though.
Yeah.
That was my understanding, the way he explained it, that they'd have 2 questions. one to keep the tax at the rate it is, and then the other to move some from one fund to another to give teachers raises.
But you're saying they're not, no one's gonna get that knee jerk, ooh, they're asking for money, so vote no.
I think
I don't-
it's-
I-
three of those issues in a row is a lot on a ballot.
I don't know the strategy, it is important for the wastewater to have the authority to issue bonds. Is the November election out of question?
It's not, but again, what do you play out the strategies of, is it good to do it on a presidential election? I don't know.
Seems rushed to me to get all the information together and out in a timely manner for that quick for the spring.
How long do we have to get is there a deadline to get the voter-approved bonds? Is there any kind of deadline?
No, Joey just recommended, like sometime over the next year, again, he said that eventually that, grant money is gonna become competitive and start, dwindling.
Because if we have bonds voted on and approved, then when the powers that be come and check our wastewater, that we can say, we've got the, they'll kind of give us
We've got
some more
something
leeway.
that works, yeah, that's right. So, as far as timing, I don't think April to August is, crucial as far as the timing for us getting the bonds or anything. It's just, again, what ballot do you think is the wisest?
Do we have to decide tonight?
No, but if you don't decide tonight, you have to decide December 11th. Because I guess, I looked at the last ones we did. I guess you don't, because this isn't codified, we could read it twice at one meeting. If we had to. And because it's going to the public for a vote, so it's as public as anything can be, right? So again, you're just talking about kind of a crunched timeline, but we could make a decision at the next meeting.
Okay, I guess that's what we'll do. You all think about which avenue you want to go, and,
But if there's any more input you have tonight, I would take it.
yeah, right.
I kind of like what Dave suggested, if we can, go ahead and let's figure for the April election. Then we get with the school, and if the school doesn't, well, then we're set. Get on board while it's there to
So
get on board.
So are you saying that if the school board does put their issue on the ballot, that you definitely don't want to? Is that what you're saying?
I guess that's the question for December 11th.
I think we probably will know by December 11th if the school board decides to vote on that by that timeline, correct? Probably.
All I can tell you is what I just reached out to Mr. Neal, and I said, are you still working towards putting this on the April ballot? He said, that's the plan, but we have to do, this, and this.
I'd like to postpone this to the December 11th meeting.
So on December 11th, then, are we just gonna make a decision, or do we need to have an ordinance ready? If we're gonna read it at two separate meetings, we would need an ordinance ready that night. If you guys are comfortable reading it twice at one meeting, then we can wait, and we can make the decision December 11th and vote on it at the 1st of January meeting. And that would be the drop dead date.
I guess you can go ahead and do the ordinance, and then if we find out that the school's doing it, then we can just table the ordinance and not vote on it, correct?
I mean, if that's the deciding factor, are there any other factors that are weighing into your decision besides whether the school's doing it or not?
Sorry. The second Monday in January is the 8th, and then the 4th is the 22nd. Could you do a first reading on the 8th and a second reading on the
What's the certification date? Is it the 23rd? Okay, well then, that's for the holiday.
That is last minute. But I would prefer to wait, and I'd like to know what the school board's doing. I really would.
I think that's important.
So what else
myself.
weighs into your decision that I can be working on? Is there anything else that weighs into your decision, or is that the one thing?
It's, to me, from when listening to him the last meeting, we have to address this year. We have to decide which, and I don't know if the November, like you said, the presidential election will have the most turnout. That may not be the best one. August costs us more money, but if there's not much on the ballot, there may not be, we only pull out the people who really have a strong opinion one way or another.
Okay, very good. So, December 11th, I don't know how much, that's 2 weeks, yeah, I don't know how much more we'll know, but we can make a decision then. Okay, very good.
All right,
Doesn't mean to belabor it.
everybody's good with that? We will move on to.
Well, I would think, sorry.
Go ahead.
I would think if they're going to seek our indulgence for not putting our own bond issue that we really need on an election because in April, that perhaps they can get together and give us an assurance by December 11th that they are or they are not, rather than.
Right, might be worth a phone call and say,
Correct.
we're holding up. Yeah,
Or a few phone calls or something.
I understand.
Don't do it because we might be doing it.
Right,
And then they don't do it and we've delayed it.
yeah. Okay. Any other old business? Okay, we'll jump to new business. We've already taken care of Tim. Any new business? If not, we'll move to ordinances.
The first which is on for second reading is bill number 2023-37, an ordinance calling general election for the year of 2024, setting the date and time thereof, specifying polling places, appointing judges of election, specifying officers to be elected, providing filing date for candidates, providing for publication of notice of election and general provisions.
Any questions on this? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
Make motion to approve?
Motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made, second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Next, which is on for second reading, is bill number 2023-38, an ordinance prescribing the salary for the elected office of city collector and establishing the effective date thereof.
Any discussion on this? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve bill number 2023-38, second read.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Bill number 2023-40 for first reading, an ordinance to approve a Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Traffic Engineering Assistance Program Agreement.
So, this is what you've heard me refer to as the TEAP grant, is the acronym for it. Not to be confused with the TAP grant we have going on at the same time, but this is the agreement with for the TEAP grant, and the next ordinance is also related to the TEAP grant, and that is a contract with our consultant for the project.
Any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve Bill 2023-40 read.
Motion has been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. We need to do
Yes,
this a
thank you.
second
If you could do
time?
them both twice, that'd be great.
Bill number 2023-40 for second reading, an ordinance to approve a Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Traffic Engineering Assistance Program Agreement.
Do I have a motion to approve second reading?
Move 2023-40, second read.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Next is bill number 2023-41, an ordinance to approve a contract by and between the city of Hermann, Missouri and George L. Crawford and Associates, Inc., doing business as CDD.
Okay, any questions on this one? I need a motion to approve.
I move to approve Bill 2023-41, first read.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Second reading.
Bill number 2023-41 for second reading, An ordinance to approve a contract by and between the City of Hermann, Missouri and George L. Crawford and Associates, Inc., doing business as CDD.
Do I have a motion to approve second reading?
I'll move to approve bill number 2023-41 as second read.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Next, for first reading is bill number 2023-42, an ordinance to amend certain sections of the municipal code of the City of Hermann, Missouri regarding the operation of all-terrain vehicles, utility vehicles, recreational off-highway vehicles, off-road vehicles, and golf carts on city streets. And so if you look at that, we talked about this, I think it was the second meeting in September. There was some discussion about it, and then I recommended just a little tweaking,
Right.
or to be more thorough, because before we mentioned all-terrain vehicles and defined that, but there's so many different vehicles now and people asking about golf carts. So what this would do is add definitions for golf cart and recreational off-highway vehicle and utility vehicle, which is more like your either 4 or 6 wheel gator. And then mentioning those different vehicles in the ordinance that we already had, or in the regulations that we already had. So I think there is some discussion about broadening. Do we just lift the restrictions and let them sort of proliferate? And I think it was decided not, but let's make sure all these different types of vehicles are covered.
Any other questions?
A couple things that caught my eyes there is in the definition of recreational off-the-highway vehicle. Towards the end, it says traveling on 4 or more non-highway tires. So if I have highway tires, would that be legal? Could we just leave the description of the tires out?
Yes, goes from highway, used. Probably. Up at the top, it says a motorized vehicle manufactured and used exclusively for off-highway use. So to say that it shall have non-highway tires, we can strike that.
I was just looking for
You think it
loophole
makes it
there. I
more
got
clear?
highway tread. In the next section here, utility vehicle, I'm sure it's a typo. It says, last 2 lines, weight of 2,000 pounds or less, traveling on 4 or 6 meals.
Should be wheels.
It should be wheels.
Typo.
Correct. Yeah.
But dictating machine couldn't differentiate between meals and wheels.
And autocorrect is above
Yeah,
it.
there you go. That's all I.
Anybody else have any questions? All right, do I have a motion to approve with that one change? Well, 2 changes, excuse me. 2 changes.
I'll make a motion to approve Bill 2023-42.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
And next for first reading is bill number 2023-43, an ordinance to amend chapter 245 tree regulations and tree commission board of the municipal code of the City of Hermann, Missouri. And this was discussed at the last meeting, and we had a draft of an ordinance, but then in addition to that, Tricia had sort of a redlined draft, or took our existing code with redline changes in it, with the various changes that the tree board was recommending, and I think those were all approved. And so those are all now incorporated into here.
Very good. Any other questions?
I'll make the motion, bill number 2023-43, approved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Very good. We'll move on to motions. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting?
I move to approve the November 13th minute meeting. Blah. You know what I
A
mean.
motion has been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Motion to pay the bills.
I move we pay the bills.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Appoint, put my glasses on, so, excuse me. Tiffany Richards to the Arts Council. Have a motion to approve Tiffany?
Move to approve.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Hire Lane Kramer, Nolan Bruni, and Bruni, and Trent Lampkin as Pee Wee basketball referees. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll move to approve.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
More power to them.
Our best wishes.
Approved the low bid from Wielding Photos for basketball photos and ARB signs, t-shirts, and more for jerseys for the Little League basketball. Motion to approve that.
Motion to approve.
Motion is made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Approved low bid from Fletcher Reinhardt for $14,725.43 for electrical materials. That's for various materials for the electric department. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I will move to approve. The prices go up.
Motion is made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Approve a low bid from Lamke Trenching and Excavating for $8,620 for gas and water boring projects. Motion to approve that.
Move to approve.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Approve the low bid from Radiocom Communication for our tower upgrade in the amount of $83,419.83.
So this is the radio communications tower up by the cemetery that the city owns. And you've got a note in here, I took note of Vera's budget memo note from the beginning of the year when she was requesting that we put into the budget, which we did. And you might recall, we talked about doing an interdepartmental loan if we didn't have the cash on hand from the gas department. So you've got your bids here, and this is the low bid. The company is asking for 25% now, which comes up to about $20,000, and 25% when it's delivered, and then the remainder when it's installed. Now that whole process, because again, like anything else, it takes so long to get anything anymore, the whole process could take a year, and fall over 2 budget years. So it may happen that we don't need to do the interdepartmental loan. But this is the low bid, and if you guys approve this, then we'll just be paying 25% of this now for $20,000.
Okay, any other questions?
With our current opportunity we have with communications, is this something that we're still gonna have to?
Oh, thank you, yes. So I did verify with the Vera, and Derek and I talked about this earlier, and I don't know if you saw the email. Vera was nice enough to answer me on her day off. So yes, I had asked her previously, and but didn't know a lot of the details, other than she had told me that regardless of 911 doing dispatch or not permanently, would not change the fact that we need to upgrade our tower. She did send me an email talking about how she thinks that the 911, they just have a tower there by them, and giving some examples of how other counties, cities have their own towers. And she says the like examples are like Gascony County owns the tower that the fire uses, the hospital owns the tower that the ambulance in Montgomery County use. So it looks like cities and counties or entities are responsible for their own communications tower.
Okay, any other questions? to approve that?
I'll approve it.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next, conditional use permit renewal, Aaron Detweiler and Alexandria Lane Detweiler, 212 East 6th Street, owner unoccupied guest house. Any questions on this one? It's a renewal. You're all quiet. If there's no questions, do I have a motion to approve the renewal?
I'll move to approve the renewal.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Then we have a conditional use permit renewal for Stephen, Linda, and Callista Labrell for 221 East 3rd Street, owner unoccupied. Any questions on this one? Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
So carried. Conditional use permit renewal, same Stephen, Linda, and Callista Labrell for 222 East 3rd Street, owner unoccupied guest house. No questions, do I have a motion to approve this one?
I move to approve.
Motion is made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is made and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Special event application for Velo Coca LLC Hogshead Cigars and Fine Tobacco Smoke Fest 2024 at the Amphitheater, September 21st, 2024. Motion to approve that one?
I will move to approve.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have no reports, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
I have a motion to adjourn, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you everyone for being here and watching on TV.
It's about time.